Hi, hello. So I am here today with a week in review. I would say it was a pretty successful week. I read 6 books, watched a movie, and finished a game. It's been like literal months since I've finished a game. I do have a good chunk of books to haul here. Most of them I had gotten last week, but I didn't finish writing stuff in the front, so they weren't in my haul stack until I finished doing that. So I'm gonna start with what I'm currently reading. Currently, I am about 72 pages into Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. This is my first T. Kingfisher book, and I am enjoying it. I really like her style, and I've been interested in her mostly because she is so prolific. She's published so much, and that's just really interesting to me. So I am currently reading this. I would like to finish it today. I don't know if it's going to happen because I am only 70 pages in, but I would like to. So there's that. Maybe if I finish all my stuff, then I can focus in on it, but I don't know if it will happen. So for what I read. So for the Herkiad categories, I have like a whole stack of stuff, like not sticky notes, note cards in the middle where I'm gonna have to put up pictures. The first book I read it for Heritage Month, I read it for Indigenous Heritage. I realized that when I use my own fucking books for this, I'm really pushing it. However, this is a fun little thing, and quite frankly, especially for Indigenous Heritage, I feel like Native American authors are the authors I read from the most, other than white authors. Just because I mean Stephen Graham Jones is a big part of it, but also I do. So I did end up picking Class B for this one. This is my own book. This is the Pentology of Hell #6. And honestly, at this point, I'm just kind of finding things to shove in there. So this is technically a spin-off novel of the Pentology of Hell. The main story is done in the first 5 books. But in general, the story is about these group of kids who end up accidentally going to hell before they're meant to, and they end up realizing that one of them is the son of Satan and the Antichrist, or as he likes to say, the Antichrist brother. And as I said, this is a spin off story following a character who doesn't really get wrapped up in the original Pentology. I give 5 out of 5 stars because it's my own book, and I do what I want. All right, next, I read a book with one of my groups of 5th graders. How to do this? Back you up a bit. It's always a fun adventure seeing how that's going to work. Oh wait, no, next is the game. I played Nikopara Catboy's Paradise around 2021. I spent 55 minutes on it. This is not really a game. It is very much a visual novel. There are literally 2 choices you can make, and that just tells you which Catboy you're going to focus in on. I focused in on Laurent. Is that his name? The silver one, the silver-haired one. I would be very probably confident in saying that this is not going to be my favorite game of the year. So after that, I finished a book with one of my group's 5th graders. We read Loser by Jerry Spinelli. This counted for Even Bigger Rainbow for green. Loser follows this kid named Zinkoff from kindergarten through like 6th or 7th grade. And he is a little bit different. He's probably somewhere on the spectrum. He is a little bit different. He's very excited. He's not very skilled at anything, but he really does try his best, and he really does want to do his best. And he wants to have friends, and he's just very excited about life. He's got a lot of zeal. Got a lot of zeal for life. It's a good book. I think I'm not a big Jerry Spinelli person. I think that there's something about his writing that's a bit disconnected, but I can really appreciate the writing in Loser, especially as a teaching tool. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. It is what it is. All right. Then I finished a book with a different set of 5th graders because we're getting to that point of the year where we're starting to finish books. I also did this for Even Bigger Rainbow Challenge for Light Blue. We read Touching Spiritbear by Ben Michelson. And again, this is another book where I don't really like it on a personal level, but I can appreciate what it does for teaching, especially because for a high group of kids with high reading levels, the vocabulary that this book uses is fantastic. So Touching Spiritbear follows this young juvenile delinquent who gets the chance to go and live by himself on an island just off the coast of Alaska rather than go to jail because he did beat a kid into disability, basically. And when he's there, he decides, I'm just gonna fucking escape. I don't even care. And he gets mauled by a bear. And so it's about him healing and learning and figuring out how he can be a person, basically. And again, personally, do I like it? No. Do I like it for the teaching implications? Yes, 3 out of 5 stars. All right, now we're done with our sticky notes, I believe. That's God. Note cards, I believe. The next one I read for same thing, Heritage Month, for Pride Month. I read Seeing Straight by me. You were going to see this book again, but with a different cover in the haul portion because I did just get a new cover. This one that does match that bad boy right there. But Seeing Straight, this is technically Pentology of Hell 5.75. It is a novella in the same world. It takes place after the last book in the series. So I'm not going to say a lot about the plot of this book in particular because it's by a series I want you to read them. But it is a Jake novella. It follows Jake. I give it 5 out of 5 stars because it's my own damn book. All right, then I watched a movie. This is technically a rewatch. I watched this movie when I was in college, and that is Goon. It came out in 2011. Sean William Scott plays a hockey player with some kind of mental disability, who ends up getting put onto a hockey team because he's an enforcer. It's a fun. I really do enjoy this movie. Every fucking time Jay Baruchel was on screen, I wanted to claw my eyes out. Like I said, this isn't my first time watching this movie. I have previously enjoyed this movie. I do still enjoy this movie, but my God, I could not get over how annoying he was. No, there are definitely some very funny moments, very good moments. I think this is just a fun little hockey comedy. And then I finished up one of the prompts for Hercules. I finished up By the Hundreds. I read for the 700 plus slot, The End of the World as We Know It. New Tales of Stephen King's The Stand, edited by Christopher Golden and Brian Keene. Introduction by Stephen King. This is a set of short stories by a variety of horror authors, just taking place in the world of The Stand. Some of them happen while the Superflu is happening. Some of them happen when people are starting to go to Las Vegas or Colorado, and some of them happen like years after the Superflu. And those were kind of interesting. Those were the ones that felt the most fanfiction-y though. Because you could tell that some of these people had their very definite ideas that didn't quite gel with my understanding of The Stand, but it is what it is. Standouts, I mean, Poppy Z. Brite has a story. Poppy Z. Brite's story is not going to be for everybody. I loved it because it's Poppy Z. Brite, and like I know what I'm getting into with Poppy Z. Brite. It was beautifully written, weirdly sexual. I was going to say at points, but it just is in general. And I'm not saying like weirdly sexual like I wasn't expecting it. I'm saying weirdly sexual. I'm saying it's sexual in a really weird way. It's great. Nat Cassidy's story was super fun, and that one had a lot of really fun implications when it comes to Stephen King as like a broader idea in a broader world. I feel like Nat Cassidy understood the assignment. That was very fun. Catreon Awards was the dog one, I think. I think she wrote the dog one. I liked that one a lot. Wrong fucking place, wrong fucking time. Also great. Lenora, was that the one that almost made me cry? With the little deer? Yeah, Lenora almost made me cry. Overall, the vast majority of these stories I did enjoy. I think that there were obviously some duds. There's always going to be duds in a short story collection, especially one this big. But I had a fun time with it. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. And again, this finished up my By the Hundreds slot, which is great. So now I'm 2 down. I am very close in some other ones. I'm not specifically going for specific prompts anymore. I'm just seeing where they fit. And I do think that very soon I'm going to start running into books that don't fit into any prompt anymore, which will be fun, but it is what it is. The last book that I finished this up yesterday. It's very short. That is The Light in the Forest by Conrad Richter. I read this for the Readathon challenge, and the prompt was shortest. It's 120 pages long. It took me literally 45 minutes to read. But The Light in the Forest is a confusing little book. It's a children's novel from 1953, and it follows this young boy who, when he was 3 years old, he was kidnapped by a band of Native Americans and raised as one of their own. He's a little white boy. And when he's 15, there is some kind of treaty that's made that forces these Native Americans to give back all of their white captives. Now, at this point, most of these white captives are really used to living in this area and really like it, particularly our main character, True Son, or what's his name? John. Yeah, True Son, or John, as he was originally named by his white parents. So this book does really, I feel like it tries to take both sides a little bit. It's from 1953, So you can't. It's hard to decide like what the author was really thinking about when he wrote this, because it's almost as if, as you finish the book, it's almost as if the author really, really like. I mean, it's not almost as if. It's very clear that the author really, really likes the noble savage trope. Um, but it's almost as if the author is very concerned with um, the idea that we are beholden to our race for some of our personality. And no matter what, we can't stop that. And I don't, I mean, obviously, I don't think that's true. I think that how we're raised can sometimes have implications in that way that um, culturally we can be raised in certain ways that affect how we think and act. But I don't think it was very realistic for like this boy to get like a shot of whiteness when he went and lived with white people for 3 weeks. I don't know. Wonderfully written. 1953. The 50s, I feel like, were the golden years for good writing. Honestly, when I read a book from the 50s, I always love the writing. I always do. Um, I ended up giving 3 out of 5 stars. It's an interesting one. So this is what I read and watched. I am getting rid of these two. I'm keeping these, and of course my movie. And now let's get into the book haul, which again, a lot of these I got last week. I just hadn't processed them yet. I call it processing. I hadn't written my name and the date I received them yet. Um, every time I say this, it jinxes me, and then that's no longer true. But this should be the last big one. I feel like I'm just manifesting a fucking book out when I say that, but it should be the last big one. First, we got the remainder of that manga set that I got last week. So we have Tsubasa Volume 2 by Clamp. I have, oh gosh, I have stuff in my eyes. I have a Full Metal Alchemist novel. This is The Land of Sand by Makoto Inoue, which, so like I said, is a light novel, not a manga. I have Bleach Volume 12, which is part of the Soul Society arc, probably the best arc, I would say. We have Moho Romantic Volume 2 by Bodhidharma. We have Get Backers Volume 5 by Rondo Ayamine. And we have The Demon Auroron by Hakusei Mizuki, Volume 2. Then we have one of my new covers for my books. This is the new cover for Circus Wings. Again, it's a little shiny. The series is shiny. I love the Circus Wings ones. I think it's going to be a hot second before I do number 2. But this is the new cover for Circus Wings. There's the back if you'd like to pause it and read the synopsis. This is my fantasy series. It's a great time. Then I have a lot of modern library classics. Is that what they're called? Modern library books? I have a lot of those that I got off of eBay. So I have A Treasury of Damon Runyon, selected with introduction by Clark Kinnaird. I have Modern Fucking Library loves William Faulkner, I'll tell you that much. Selected Short Stories of William Faulkner. I have The Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Crane. We have Victory by Joseph Conrad. We have The Arabian Nights, an adult selection by Richard Burton. And then the cream of the crop, really. This was the one I'm most excited about. Vanity Fair by William Makepeace Thackeray. I have been wanting just a fun edition of Vanity Fair. I have a different one in the book walls because we read it twice. But I read it in college, and it was one of the few pieces of British literature that I really enjoyed. As well as that of Human Bondage by W. Somerset. Alright, then I got 2 more covers for my books. First up, I got a new cover of Columbiner. I didn't technically need to get a new cover of this one because the cover I had was made on Amazon with Amazon stuff, so it was fine. But it sucked, so I got a new one. There's the back. So here's a new cover of Columbiner. And then also, as I mentioned, the new cover of Seeing Straight. It matches the other Pentology books now, and again, it's got made on Canva. So there's the back, I suppose. So yeah, I've got this. And then I also did pick up another self-published book. I picked up The Darkest Class by Olivia Danson. So there's that. As I said, I may be jinxing myself, but that should be the last big lot for a hot second. Because I am not meaning to buy any more books until I read 47 more as per the rules of the vlog series I may or may not have posted at this point, the first one, I don't know. I meant to not post the vlog until I hit 29.90, but it was going to be way too long, so I'm just splitting the first one into a couple different episodes. Maybe like once a week I'll edit what I have, and then it'll be kind of like a weekly vlog. I don't know. This first one is not going to be just one vlog. After that, I'm going to try and keep it to one. I think it'll be easier if I only have 15 books to get through, rather than 50. But it is what it is. I will talk to you later. I'm hoping I can keep my momentum going. I will talk to you later, and goodbye.